Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 59 of the Near Memo. As you can probably hear, Greg Sterling is off this week, and I am filling in David Mim as the guest host for today's events. We are pleased to be joined by a guest panelist, Joy Hawkins from Sterling Sky and Local U. Local U Advanced happened earlier this week. I was honored to moderate the conference. I thought it was really fantastic, and Joy's here this week to give some of her top takeaways from the event. And actually, my item of the week is also going to include a couple of takeaways from the event as well. But first, before we get into that, Mike, you wrote an epic piece yesterday, Thursday of last week, depending on when you're listening, about Google's new guidance around in-store availability and how that might impact rankings in the local pack. So why don't you take it away?
Sure. A little bit of backstory. In middle of March, I did some searches and found that Google was now showing more real-time product inventory from Merchant Center directly in the pack as opposed to just in the ads. Although at the time I found that it was only around major brands like Nike or Nikon, it would do that. So segue to this past week, and Damian Rollison noted that the how to improve your local ranking on Google page had been updated to include a snippet on that your business will increase visibility if you add real-time product inventory through one of the many, through Pointy or through Shopify, and that would increase your visibility. So I went and checked and found that many more searches were now showing product inventory in the local pack, and searches that weren't previously showing them, like specific product searches or higher brand level searches. For example, Nikkor Lens showed previously, but Nikon Lens didn't. So Nikkor is a brand of Nikon, and now Nikon Lens shows. And then if you search on a specific lens or a specific camera, previously it didn't show, and now it does. And also they were showing more in roll. So to me, it was interesting, one, that it is rolling out further, and two, that Google would put this on the how to improve your ranking page. And then three, when they link to how to do it, they link to Pointy. They don't link to general Merchant Center instructions, which I thought was particularly bold given how much talk there is about self-preferencing right now. So I'm curious, from Joy's point of view, this page, how to prove is Google being disingenuous by saying you get better visibility by adding in-store products? Do in-store products actually increase rank? Do they just increase, or is it just increased clickability? I mean, I'm curious your opinion about it. I'm not sure I have an absolute opinion of Google's saying, and I'm not even sure what Google is saying is what they believe. I have no idea. So.
Yeah, we haven't tested it, but I know we were doing some searches yesterday because we were reading your article and noticed, like, when you were searching, it was air fryer near me, and I was getting, I think, Best Buy, Walmart's, and some other big box store in Canada. And it was interesting, Walmart's the only one that didn't have the live inventory. And the way that it looks for the other ones is like, literally says it was updated, hours ago. I could see that would make a difference in click-through rate. And, if that's the case, then it would definitely impact ranking, because anything that helps your click-through rate would help your ranking.
Yeah, that's a secondary. We would also, from my point of view, increase the relevance to the queries. If you're looking for a specific item and it's in stock, and you also are seeing it as a justification in stock recently or in stock now, kind of justification over the web. So you think it actually could. Go ahead, David.
I'm going to take a little higher view out of the weeds and say, as a consumer, as a general searcher, I think it should be a ranking factor. I want to know if I'm searching for a specific product that Target or my local hardware store, whatever it is, has it in stock. Like, that to me actually should mean that business outranks other businesses which don't have it available. So I'm not saying it should be the only or the dominant ranking factor, but I do think from a logic perspective, if you put yourself in the shoes of a typical searcher, it makes sense to me that it should be a ranking factor. Now, that does not get into any of the self-preferencing stuff that Mike is bringing up, but I think I don't have a problem with it being a ranking factor. I don't have a problem with Google sort of specifying it on their page about how to improve your rankings in local. But Mike, do you want to talk a little bit more about where this fits in the self-preferencing context, some of the other items that we've spoken about in previous episodes?
Sure. So there's a bill in front of Congress right now that would prohibit all of the major platforms from doing what's called self-preferencing, which would mean on a local search, Google showing the PAC results or showing any a business profile. And in this situation, they specifically pointed to the only solution to this being their Pointy, which is hosted on their service. It's a product which I think they're giving away right now, but that they bought that sits between your point of sale and their web pages. And it was just fascinating to me that rather than pointing to a general page about how to get products into Merchant Center that would flow into the PAC, they only pointed to theirs. And I thought it was a particularly bold move, one that I called a middle finger move, because they're under so much scrutiny right now to make such a clear self-preferenced action seemed stupid to me in light of all the criticism they're under. They could have played it a whole lot more subtly and said, here are three choices. We really, if you don't have the POS, pick Pointy. If you do, pick one of these other ones or whatever, but they didn't. They just went right to a Pointy page, and there is no mention of Shopify or Woo on those pages, even though they had this solution long before Pointy did, I think, or at least.
Right. And just to be clear, what the solution is an automated feed where it's essentially, it tries to be a one-click sort of OAuth into Google Merchant Center from your Shopify dashboard or WooCommerce dashboard. As we've spoken about in previous Near Memos, it's, actually considerably more cumbersome than that to set up. But once you have it set up, your CMS will update the Google Merchant Center with your real-time inventory that you're tracking in your CMS. So.
And it only shows availability. It doesn't show actual inventory. I went and checked what fields it grabbed. It only shows whether it's available, yes or no. I was curious, though, how often it updated. Do you know how
that I don't know. Yeah, that I don't know. It's, probably for larger stores, it would be a pretty resource-intensive crawl. So I don't know. Maybe Shopify only pings their service on, products that have changed or something like that. But it definitely, it is a very robust integration and is sort of bizarre that given the effort that on both the business development side and certainly on the technical side that Google went to work with these partners, it's certainly bizarre that they're not mentioning them more prominently in the how to get your inventory in Google Merchant Center on this page. So,
and I would add one more thing, that in the bigger picture, this is a strategic effort by Google to compete with Amazon. Historically, Google was the leader in product search, and then Amazon took over that lead, I think, in 2018. And Google has been trying different ways to get back into this, first with voice and other ways. And local seems to me a really good strategy to do it. And yet it's also one of those strategies that brings more into the mothership and might raise further antitrust eyebrows. But I think from a competitive point of view, it's their best route to compete with Amazon.
Right.
So I think it's interesting on multiple levels.
For sure. I mean, it's the only thing that can be better than 24-hour Prime delivery is, the ability to show what's in a store that you can go to and pick up immediately. So,
right.
Yeah.
And particularly on products where you want to make sure it fits, like shoes, or you want to look at like a camera product, you don't really want to buy those items.
Yep. All right.
As
great.
far as how often it gets updated. I was just going to say, I searched it today, the same search I did the other day, and it's saying updated today. So it looks like they are updating it at least daily.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.